Okay. Open the meeting. We have an opportunity for a brief public comment. If we have anyone here who would like to make public comment.
I just had a question.
Okay.
I just wondered if any progress has been made on the ownership of the dam.
None to date.
That's it.
None to date. We have varying legal opinions, and we're trying to ferret out the best course of action to determine which it is, and probably the state is going to have to do that. Okay, so that's all we know to date. And Richard, do you have any update on that?
No,
No.
still waiting for one attorney to
Yeah,
But has the state been alerted
I believe so.
so they know that there's a
A question.
thing?
A question.
Yeah,
A question.
okay. That's what I came to find out.
We should have
Okay.
an answer
Thank you.
soon. We've been prodding counsel. It should be soon.
It's been a month.
Well,
Two different attorneys working on it though.
Yeah, but you know, all that stuff costs so much money.
I hear you.
Those attorneys are,
I miss Jim Baird.
We all do.
There is no
Especially
such
his
thing as-
invoices.
there's no such thing as a discount.
No.
It's gotta be right though. Gotta do it right.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay, seeing no other public comment, I'd just move if we
I've
could.
got a couple things. if I may.
Okay.
I have one thing for later on, but this has been a request from lots of folks in regards to the schedule of the meetings. For instance, I guess I made one copy, and we'll talk about tomorrow night. I don't know who schedules the meetings, but tomorrow, first of all, there's a finite number of people who come to the meeting.
True.
And tomorrow night is a perfect example where we have this meeting here and finance and whatever else is occurring tomorrow.
Mhm.
And then we also have planning. And planning has very important things going on tomorrow. There's 3 public hearings.
Mhm.
Would it be, whoever does the schedule, would it be sensible maybe, or logical, if sometimes the meeting could be held on a Wednesday, so that, because, for instance, if tonight were Tuesday, I would want to be, of course, you know, I always come to the meeting, I never watch it on television. I would want to be here, and I would want to have half of my behind upstairs. Maybe there's a way that we could, and I'm not saying that we should ask the folks at Planning and Conservation to change their day, only because they've been up there forever on the same day for eons. Maybe the other departments we can schedule on a Wednesday or maybe on a Thursday, where we don't have too much contrasting areas, because, you know, we have difficulty getting folks here or to participate. So it was just a thought, and tomorrow night was a very good example of some of the difficulties we might have.
Mhm.
And I want to say something when we're going into the minutes, but that's the only thing in that regard.
Okay.
By the way, I hope there's nothing pertinent on the back of this. That was relevant to me.
If there is, you can have it back, since we understand the
Yeah,
concept.
okay, yeah. I mean, this came from 2013. I do use papers
I can
again.
see that
I
again.
do use papers,
Recycling.
and I'm not embarrassed.
That's okay. I'm not embarrassed that you are. Okay. You had one more thing?
Yeah, but as we get on with the meeting.
Oh, okay,
in
fine.
relation- But thank you.
Okay, so we'll be moving right along to the May 19th.
By the way, do you want to talk about that at all, or?
No, I think we've heard your concerns, and obviously,
No, but do you guys want to have any round robin and discuss it at all,
oh, I
or?
think it's an interesting, situation. I don't know if it's typical. Some of the meetings that are on that are monthly meetings, so we certainly could work on that. Everybody tries to stay away from Mondays because this meeting, and there's certainly, I think it's an unusual month just because of how it falls, because it's the first Tuesday or the first Wednesday, whatever it is, and so you have things like the Felton Field Commission that meets just once a month, and so So we could, in the finance committee during this, their season, they always meet on, okay, the Tuesday night after the select board meets on Monday. So they've had that date for a long time. So I guess we'd have to kind of talk with the other boards and, see if we can shift out a, different thing during the finance committee, because they only meet from like January to, June.
They used to meet on Wednesday.
They did? Yeah. So we can talk about that.
Yeah, okay. So that actually maybe for tomorrow, it's a little,
It's a busy night, I agree.
it's a bit busy. And there are a lot of, and I know tomorrow, there's some conservation stuff. There's 3 public hearings.
Yeah.
And people want to be too busy. Anyway,
Okay, thanks. Okay, moving on to May 19th, meeting minutes that have been in your packet and you've had opportunity to review. Do we have a motion?
Yeah, I move to approve the May 19th minutes.
I second the motion.
May 19th minutes as presented. We have a motion made and seconded. Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we have finance, the joint meeting with the finance committee. I would suspect that that has to be approved at their meeting tomorrow night as well as tonight. I guess over approval is better than none, right? Okay.
Okay, I
So-
make a motion that we approve the minutes of May 20th, joint meeting between the Select Board and Finance Committee.
The
So-
minutes are attached.
So I would probably want to abstain on that because I left the meeting and I went to a planning board meeting.
Okay, thank you. We have a motion made, I will second it, a motion made and seconded to approve the joint select board finance committee meeting Tuesday, May 20th at 6:30 PM. Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Moving along to the Tuesday, May 27th, 11 AM meeting, which was authorizing the select board to, and if needed, acquire the services of a qualified individual or agency to assist in preparing financial documents for the town meeting. We have a motion?
I was
Yeah,
absent.
yeah, I would move to approve the May 27th, 2025.
I was also in attendance, so I would second the motion. Any questions, Richard? I know you were out
I
of
read
town.
through them, but no, thank you.
Okay, so all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Moving along to get into the select board reports. We continue to work, and you guys might have other things to add to this, but we continue to work really hard with the Budget and Finance Committee and department heads as we move through the development of the FY26 budget. We have had a great, I think, effective and interesting meeting last time we met with the Budget and Finance Committee group, and obviously we have another meeting tomorrow night. We're moving closely now to finish up the warrant and to look at the line item budget and so on and so forth. Greg, would you have any comments about any of that progress? Yeah, that we're just.
So it's slow progress.
Mhm.
I feel like we've made some good inroads in terms of what we have available for money and what its revenues are a problem.
Yeah.
I think, as you all know.
Yeah.
And there's going to be some difficult decisions that need to be made between now and town meeting in terms of what services the town can afford.
Right, agreed. I think that we've spent a good deal of time, and Greg, you were so generous of your time this week, and you and I spent a lot of time on
We did.
budget, and made, I think, really, really some good progress, and really figured out exactly where we think we are and where we need to go with the Finance Committee tomorrow night as far as working on new numbers. So
Yep.
my thanks to you for those efforts. And Sandy, I want to just say, I know that it's just been a couple days, but losing the town administrator, you and Greg have worked tirelessly to try to make it all work, and I'm really appreciative, and I know I speak for the board in that, so thank you for that. Any other questions on budget or? Okay. Discussion regarding public records requests and attorney's fees. I think that, Mark, was something you wanted to talk a little about?
Yeah, well, it's, because we're not able to discuss things out of meeting, I want to make the board and the public, of course, aware of our growing, I guess, our obligation financially to our town council due to public records requests. And, I don't really know if the the public out there that's, you know, making these requests realize the impact that it has on the office and the people, and financially. I think the bill was around $3,200 this month. $2,444 was due to one single person's request, public record request. And that has happened several times, several months throughout the year. So I just want everybody to know. I saw the bills. I don't know if you guys saw them. I think it's important that everybody knows what's going on here. So, that's it.
Good, thank you. Questions? Your concerns are well noted.
Is the way that you guys are handling this, that's the recognized legal state of Massachusetts method of handling public records?
Well, we obviously seek legal advice when necessary and appropriate, and we're very conscious of trying to do the right thing in the right time frame, because there's such a tight time frame to get records together. Most of the time, it's the town clerk who has enormous responsibility for this. We have literally sent bank boxes of records, more than once or twice or three times during the course of this year. And so the burden on the town of, you know, people who are employed here in the clerk's office, as well as the town administrator, and Sandy, and I mean, we spend a lot of money, a lot of time and money chasing records, and it's perfectly appropriate that somebody would request records. We get that. But we also, because of circumstances that have occurred, we also have agencies from the Commonwealth who are requesting records from us because of citizen complaint. And so then we have to get all of those records and get them in an appropriate time frame. Sometimes we say to our attorney, do we have to provide this? Can we charge for this? And then we try to charge reasonable fees when necessary and appropriate, but we try also to be, you know, public friendly. But anyway, and when the state, when the state asks for stuff, we don't get to ask them for money. They just want the records. And by law, the town clerk is the keeper of their records.
This is all a very time-consuming
Oh, yes.
project over time.
Yeah.
And what are other towns doing when they have this difficulty? I'm sure.
Well, I would
Barre
say,
is not alone.
I would say that this has been an extraordinarily burdensome year. I'm not saying that there are things that have happened within the community, things with employee groups and so forth that have happened within the community, where there has been a lot of information necessitated by the state, by the Ethics Commission, by the Inspector General, by the sitting Attorney General. Because if we fail to comply with X, the Attorney General becomes involved. And we often have to go and have our attorney request from, the litigant, we need X number of more days to try to get this stuff together. So, and that has to be done within our attorney to the Attorney General's office. So it is, as you have pointed out, Mark, a very burdensome and very costly. And even though people say, well, let's see your actual bills, what happens is, she gets behind, the town clerk gets behind, because we don't have, it's like one person in each of these jobs that are trying to, kind of catch up and do
I
what's
just didn't know
requested.
if there was any legal shortcut that we could participate in.
I wish.
And we could, because I know there's a lot of bureaucracy
Yeah.
that we have to deal with.
Well, it's unfortunate that, the business of the town has to stop because this is more important, as far as the state's concerned.
Yeah.
Everything takes the back seat to this. And, it just undermines the town. And sometimes I believe myself that is the objective of the individual or individuals that's doing it. So, that's my opinion.
Well, I think it's probably a very logical opinion.
Well, hearing that, other comments or concerns or questions on that? Okay, let's move on to Coastal Medical Billing Group Report and uncollectible claims. And no good news from the fire chief. Welcome, chief. Thank you for being here.
Good evening. So I received an email from Coastal.
Will you explain for the audience what Coastal Medical
Coastal
Billing?
is medical billing. They do all our ambulance billing for every ambulance call we have.
Okay.
So I received this email. We get one every year, and it comes to the board, just on the uncollectible calls. Some of it has credits like Medicare, Medicaid, or even hardships where people pay a little bit. But this is a list, which I believe you guys have, of what.
And it's
they have-
redacted.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
redacted it.
Greg.
It's a list of what Coastal has deemed uncollectible. They
Copy.
they send out approximately, in their letter, 6 bills. They do multiple phone calls, and they even reach out to the hospitals for people they can't get a hold of to try to get updated billing information. So it's not like they haven't tried. They get a percentage of everything we bill, so the more money we
They-
bring in, the more money they make.
Yeah.
So they do try. So I
So-
just didn't know if you guys wanted.
So we have to vote to accept the fact that the uncollectible
Either
of
write it off or send it to a
$465,000.
Yeah, I mean, it's,
How much?
we
$465,000.
have to get it off the books. I mean, the auditors and the accountants don't want us to carry that kind of debt load. But I think we should look at a third-party collection company at some point, because that's a significant number. And I would like to work with the chief and talk, I don't know if Carla or Jen,
Well,
or who your contact person
isn't
is.
Coastal
This is
Medical
Rose.
Billing Group a third party?
They're the bill.
Yeah,
With the
This
there's,
is, but I'm talking collection.
Or like a serious collection? I
Yeah.
call up you and I say,
Well,
you owe us whatever.
being a retired fire chief and having gone through this in 2 communities that I worked in, there are
Yeah.
people that aren't paying that could
Sure
pay.
about that.
And if you don't ever reach out to them, you're not gonna get the money.
My apologies.
We provide the service.
Well, we
We're
have.
gonna continue to
Yeah.
provide the service. Everybody's gonna get a call answered. I mean, we're not talking about not answering the call, but
Right.
it's also an important part of our budget. It's also an important part of the chief's budget to operate an ambulance in town. And I also asked what the split was between New Braintree and Hardwick, because I know they pay us a fee to provide services to them, but it'd be nice to know of that
Yeah.
dollar amount, how much is New Braintree, how much is Hardwick patients
And how
not
much is Barry? Yeah.
in Barre.
True.
Because we've got to make some decisions going down the road, whether we stay with these communities or not, or whether we up their assessment or not. So pretty familiar with this, and there's just a few suggestions that I had.
and I can talk to the billing company, I can go through our reports and try to figure out that split.
Well, I think that we obviously should, at our next meeting, take formal action. And we obviously need to vote this evening that one indicates that we've received this information and understand that it has an impact on, obviously, our ambulance receipts.
Yeah.
Board members, the most helpful information is the last 2 pages, which gives you a summary of the accounts rather than the list of names. It gives you an idea of the 297 accounts, and then it breaks it down in terms of where they come from.
I suppose if this becomes a healthy community and we wouldn't need the services.
Something like this, bad address,
It'd be better to have a
bad
lot of healthy
address,
people.
$50,000. So
It's the same in every
people have an
town.
address.
Yeah.
So I would
And
like
when
to,
We put the addresses in all our reports.
right, you have to.
Yeah.
But I would just like the opportunity to work with the chief at some point, maybe with the billing company, and see if we can't help.
Well, I certainly, you know, in concert with this vote, I would say that continuing to work directly with the chief to monitor carefully our billing and obviously the response to that billing. And if necessary, we need to have, you know, collection agency involved, that would make sense. Because obviously, this amount of money is significant to you
Yes.
and significant to the community, so.
Absolutely.
So, do I have a motion to accept the uncollectible claims so that that can be part and parcel of our world of work? And then also to investigate into a potential collection agency that you could bring to the committee, perhaps, would you mind if I ask you to do that?
If you would authorize me working with the chief,
I
I think I'd
certainly
like to
do.
do that in hand with him.
Yep.
Because that company, you know, should the board proceed and vote to hire a company, that company be working with the chief directly.
Should we make a motion for that right off the
Well, I
bat?
think we should make a motion to address the uncollectible claims, understand that we have them and that we have to be accepting of those, and that in the future, we would hope to utilize a collection agency to mitigate the problem.
So I make a motion to mitigate $406,508.69 of uncollectible ambulance debt to date.
I would second that.
Have a motion made and seconded to recognize and put into the record the uncollectible claims for the ambulance service of $465,000. Those in favor?
All right.
All right,
I want to be very clear, this is not anything that the chief or his paramedics or EMTs are doing on their data entries. It's just money that they can't collect from the billing side of it after they've already delivered the patient to the hospital and gone through the billing process and the data that goes to the billing company from you. So nothing they've done, they're doing everything exactly the way they're supposed to be.
Are these trips that are taken, are they personal? I thought everybody has some sort of levels of insurance, even people who are on public welfare have
The chief can explain that to you.
some sort of a connection.
Some people do, some people don't have insurance at all. They list as self-pays, or, so we don't get anything from them. Or if with like Medicare and Medicaid,
Yeah.
and the government ones will only pay a certain amount,
Which are way under what it really
which
costs
is
to
way
run
under
the
the
ambulance.
actual, what we actually bill.
And then there are some people who have, have Medicare or if excellent insurance, and they're the great people to pick up. And not others who need our services and, have a lesser, shall I say, insurance opportunity. We understand that. I mean, if you have Medicare or Medicaid and, that's what you have, that's what we get.
Correct.
But that's like everywhere, whether you're,
Right, you can't change that.
so you can't change that.
Rich, is it your experience to actually engage a third party, collection agency on
Well,
On the-
I think we should at least have dialogue with the company
Yeah,
and see what they
yeah.
can
I just don't know if
offer.
other towns have done it. Have you seen that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
All right.
they have, yes.
It's something that was kind of slipped through the cracks
Unfortunately,
here.
this is not an unusual circumstance for any of our towns.
It is not, it is not. I had to do this very same exercise with my select boards in Chamberlain and Phillipson during my tenure as fire
Yep.
chief. This is normal, and we need to get it off the books. We don't want to
Yep.
carry this debt, the auditors and our town accountant. And this is an exercise we have to do.
Yeah, all right.
You're going to also meet with the chief
Yeah, yeah.
to have that discussion.
We'll set that up.
And obviously, when you have a firm and final recommendation, we can vote that at our next meeting. Work for you, Mark? Okay. One, certainly thing that we don't want to do, but find that,
Sorry,
Yeah.
I'll just call you tomorrow.
Yeah. We'll catch up.
one thing we
Thank
want.
you.
One thing we want to make sure that we do as we move, into this last month of our fiscal year, 2025, we want
Next year.
to, because we know we're going to have some really difficult decisions to make financially, I would recommend that we approve a freeze on all expenditures within the FY25 budget effective June 3. And by freeze, we would mean any, obviously, salaries and et cetera, but that every warrant article that comes in here looking for some sort of, expenditure that the department heads understand, don't put it unless it's an emergency situation or it's a contracted risk number that you have to pay. Because we're really gonna put the brakes on, and let's see if, we don't wanna run on the bank at the end. You know how you have X left and you say, oh, let's get the paper and let's get the toner and let's get everything set up. I mean, usually it's good strategy, it's just not a good strategy this year. So I would look for a recommendation and a motion and a vote.
I'll make a motion to approve freeze of all expenditures within the FY25 budget effective June 3rd, 2025.
Do I have a second?
I just want to talk about that for a minute. What is the impact? What would have the department heads been notified or anything about that?
No, I had a conversation with the accountant
Okay.
who strongly urged and recommended this,
Mm-hmm.
feeling that it's the best way to really get a handle on how we're gonna close out in FY25,
Mm-hmm.
because it is standard practice, probably not only here, it's everywhere, where on the last, month of the fiscal year, you look at your budget and you say, look at, we've got X number of dollars left in getting cupcakes, and we got another X number of dollars to get donuts. And I said, let's just get them now, so then we don't have to do it now. And this standard operating procedure, it's not a bad thing, it's just what is generally done.
I'd like to just add my 2 cents. So, just to put some perspective on it, we have, for this year, we have a snow deficit of $208,145. We also have a lease payment for some capital equipment, $127,000. So there's $335,145 in expenditures that we didn't plan on for this fiscal year, which ends on June 30th. So we need to make sure that there's money available. Typically, we don't get to the end of the year with that amount of money outstanding, and I think it certainly merits a freeze in view of the fact that there's some very large items that are out there that we have to pay. Their obligations of the town.
And this certainly isn't gonna save our budget. I mean, it's gonna be.
Oh gosh, no.
No,
It's what it is, it's gonna put the brakes on, okay?
basically, don't stock up on toner paper,
Yeah.
you know,
Right.
things you would normally get at the
Well,
end
and
of the
I
year
think-
because you had a little extra money.
Yeah, and anything that's reasonable, we're gonna look at and say, yep, we should get that, but we shouldn't do this. So at any rate, we have a motion, I would second it for the.
I'll second it.
We have a motion made and seconded to indicate to town, employees tomorrow that we are on a freeze on all expenditures. That doesn't mean nothing will be approved, it just means we will scrutinize everything that we're gonna be buying for the next 30 days. Those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Sandy, you will get, please, that information out to department heads tomorrow?
Yes.
At the recommendation of the town administrator, the select board, and our accounting office.
Now, this is effective as of June 3,
Today.
like
Tomorrow.
midnight?
Yeah, well.
How are we doing it?
Well,
It's another day.
Well, I mean, anything that's in our coffers that for the last month of June, we're gonna really scrutinize. I mean, and we're not gonna move it through unless, if it's reasonable, we're gonna have to do something to, that they really need. We're
It's
not-
certainly things where we have ongoing payments. For example, if we have a copy machine lease that we pay
Yeah,
monthly
yeah.
for,
We're doing it.
Oh, yeah.
of course, we're going to
Yeah.
continue.
Understand that.
I've always believed that this town has been generally quite frugal all the departments have been quite frugal
I agree.
in their requests.
I agree.
I really, I mean.
I think, there's no question, we're not trying to put anybody in a bad situation, we're trying to say, let's see, because with my conversations with the accountant, like she says, we have some deficits in snow and ice and so forth, she wants to get the best handle she possibly can on what little bit could we squeeze, even if it's out of the last monthly thing, because we have some bills that we know are outstanding that we didn't anticipate, we gotta pay.
Yeah.
I mean, it's as simple as that, I think. I think we'd be remiss not to at least make an effort to really get down and dirty and say, okay, what little can we do? Approval of letters of support sent to the state regarding town road improvements, specifically the Valley Road Bridge and the Chamberlain Hill Road and Root Road. Okay. So we need a vote to just authorize the release of those letters. They were put together at the request of the state, who indicate that they are willing to give us a sufficient amount of funding. And the Valley Road Bridge, we know we're not going to move that forward without putting some pressure to bear on the state. I think those letters are in your.
There, yeah, I was reading it quick.
It should be a letter there from me that I wrote to DOT.
I didn't get that. Didn't go to Tammy?
No, I gave it to you with Mark's name on it.
Oh, but Mark got it.
It was a 2-page letter.
This one? Yeah, right here.
No, that's what we did on Thursday. Sam brought one in.
Well, let me just read the Chamberlain Hill Road and Root Road fold up reclamation project. Dear Grant Review Committee, on behalf of the Barre Board of Selectmen, we are writing in full support of the Town of Barre's application to the Community One Stop for Growth Grant Program for the full depth reclamation and paving of Chamberlain Hill and Root Road. These 1.5 miles of roadway are heavily traveled every day by school buses, student drivers, and residents from both Barre and the neighboring town of Hardwick. The current road conditions are extremely deteriorated and pose a growing risk to the safety of all who use them, especially during school transportation hours. These roads are key routes for accessing the local school system and community resources, and their condition has become unacceptable for the volume of daily traffic they support. The town of Barre has committed to replacing all cross culverts within the project area at its own expense. The investment not only ensures the underlying infrastructure is properly addressed before paving, but also allows the full extent of grant funds to go toward the road surface improvements, maximizing project impact and cost efficiency. The Select Board recognizes this project as a high priority for safety, accessibility, and long-term infrastructure needs of our residents. We respectfully urge your support of this important grant request, which will have an immediate and lasting positive impact on our community. That is something that we will send in efforts to acquire the funding through this grant to provide the funding for this project. I can't put it any better than it's in the letter.
I make a motion that we sign the letter of support for Chamberlain Hill Road and Route Road full depth reclamation project.
I'll second
I
that.
have a motion made and seconded to sign and send the letter of support for the Chamberlain Hill Road and Route Road full depth reclamation project. Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, secondarily, we have another request on behalf of the Barre. This is to District 2 Highway Director. On behalf of the Barre Select Board, we are writing to express our strong support for the timely and prioritized replacement of the Valley Road Bridge. The current condition and closure of this vital bridge have had a direct and growing impact on our community. Valley Road is a designated truck route through our town, and with the bridge out of service, all truck traffic has been rerouted through the center of town, an area not built to handle this volume or vehicle weight. This has created a host of problems, including road deterioration, increased safety risk for pedestrians, and major disruptions to daily life for residents and businesses alike. Adding to our concern is the lack of a definite committed timeline for the bridge's replacement. While a tentative date has been suggested, it appears to be speculative and lacks the assurance our town needs to plan properly. The longer the project is delayed, the more strain it places on our infrastructure, public safety, and quality of life. We respectfully urge the Mass DOT to treat the Valley Road Bridge replacement as a high priority project to provide a realistic transparent schedule that reflects a firm commitment to resolving the matter. And I thank them for their consideration.
Have we asked all of our representatives?
Of course we have.
to-
And their recommendation was to move in this direction so that they would have a letter that they could say, we got this.
Because I happened to be at a meeting at the DPW of lots of engineers talking about this bridge.
Mhm.
And at the end of the meeting, everybody suggested that we write a letter to Patty Leavenworth. From the same
I believe
person-
that is the woman to whom we have addressed this
Yeah,
letter.
the same person that I wrote the letter to,
Yeah.
as an individual. But after I wrote this letter, I thought that another group which would be suggested to write a similar letter would be to the police, by the police department. And get some sort of a petition. So maybe you want to reach out to the chief and I mean, he has folks driving around the town all the time. I suppose they all could carry a petition and knock on the door.
Well, I don't think
and ask
that's an appropriate thing for police to do
and
myself.
ask them, or maybe the fire department. The fire department did that once. I remember the fire department wanted to get something done. So they had everybody go around, all the fire people go around to different designated streets, and they got a petition written up, and whatever the petition requested became in effect.
I mean, people can do petitioning, but you can't put a person in a uniform and send them to a door and say, knock, 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 your new chief, I'm the new police chief, I'm this guy, I hear something. No, we can't do that. No. That would be certainly considered as a little hostile. So, at any rate, we have a motion to send
Yeah.
the second letter.
Yeah, I would move to approve the letter on behalf of the Barre Select Board of the expression of our strong support for the timely and prioritized replacement of the Valley Road Bridge.
Okay, we have.
Second that
We have a
motion.
motion made and seconded. Those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, use of town property, we have the request data that is provided for us, and it tells us what dates and times that people would like to use the property. A request to use town property, specifically the town hall, for the Circle of Song rehearsals every Thursday, September 4, 2025, to December 18th, 2025, from 7 to 8:30 p.m., and a concert Saturday on December 18th from 6 to 9 p.m. This is a typical and annual request. We have had, this is a wonderful group that has always taken very good care of the property when they've had the opportunity to use it. So we look for a motion.
My only question is, does this conflict with anything with Christmas and Barre? We
It
already
does
approved
not.
their paperwork 2 meetings ago.
Trust me.
Okay.
Trust me.
Yeah,
I make a motion that we allow Circle of Song to use the town hall every Thursday from 7 to 8:30, September 4th, 2025 through December 18th, 2025, and Saturday, December 20th from 6 to 9 p.m.
You mean Saturday, December 18th, right?
That's what I read.
Okay, it should say 18th, that's what you have on our,
what's it says 18 on her thing.
It says December 18th and Saturday, December 20th.
Oh, December 20th,
okay, so it should be December 20th, not the 18th?
yep. Well, let me check my calendar.
So did I read it right? or is-
You read it right,
Okay.
and I read it right. It's just wrong in my sheet, I think.
Okay.
Come on. Yeah, it's the 20th, because the 18th is Thursday. Because I had Thursday in my mind because they practice on Thursdays now
Okay,
for the summer.
okay. So, at any rate, Mr. Stevens, I assume you will just take the change
Yeah,
of
absolutely.
December
Yeah,
20th?
Of
And
course.
good catch, by the way.
of course.
I have a motion.
Again, what is the date on that? December
December 20th.
20th, okay.
So we need a second?
Yeah, I'll second that.
Motion made and seconded to approve the request to use town property by the Circle of Song. So those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we now have a request to use town property, the town hall, the Barre Winter Market. They are seeking the dates of 11/8/25, 12/13/25, 1/10/26, 2/14/26, 3/14/25, 4/11/26, once a month on the second Saturday from 8 to 2 p.m., 8 a.m. to 2 p.m.
And I checked it.
And you checked it, and we're all good? Okay. This individual group has utilized the town property in this manner for the last couple of years now, and this has been, I think, useful for many of the people who participate in buying at the market and other people who are selling at the market. So we need a motion?
Yeah, I would move to approve the request to use town property for the Barre Winter Market for the farmer's market for the dates as presented by the chair.
We have a motion?
I'll second
We have a
that.
motion made and seconded about the request to use town property for the Barre Winter Market. Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Moving on to personnel, we have one wage authorization from the DPW department, which is a seasonal employee, Justin Giansanto, at $16.97 per hour, a seasonal worker who I believe is going to be ready to start it upon our approval.
I would move to approve the wage authorization for Justin Giansanto for a seasonal employee with a salary of $16.97 or a 40-hour week.
I'll second that
We
motion.
have a motion made and seconded for the salary authorization submitted by the DPW superintendent for a seasonal employee at $16.97 per hour. Those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, seeing no other items of interest or on the agenda, we would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion made and seconded to adjourn. We're adjourned.
Aye, aye.
Aye, aye.